This is the men's room.
Forget it, man, and get with the countdown. Shake this square world and blast off for Kicksville. The trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
You're listening to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
Racial consultant standing by, caller 9-844-999. Ola will play Profile this in minutes. And we do have your headlines on the way 1 hour from now. First, quick check into Mike Hawk for some of the stories and headlines he is not working on. Mike Hawk out today. Here's some of the stories he's
not working on. 86% of people, believe it or not, of kids 18 and under have no idea what a pager is. This is according to a new survey. The survey also found that 67% of kids did not know what a floppy disk was, and 40% could not recognize visibly a cassette.
That makes sense, though.
Yeah,
that to me makes sense because it's technology, and once you don't, it's not like history. Once you don't need technology, it's gone, right?
Yeah.
So the cassette, they probably have no idea what that
phone
is.
Booth.
The sound, even if it's an audio cue, like the ringing of a phone or a busy signal.
Right.
That's something.
That's true.
Busy signal is not something that most people have heard before.
Busy signal, no.
Only in movies now.
Yeah.
But then even in the movie, you're like, who did you call that you got a busy signal? One thing I always thought
They'd
was
only know the
interesting-
ringer because you can pick that to have
you
that
can
be a
pick
ringer.
It was a couple of years ago, and I'm sure the stat probably has not changed much, but there was a rather large percentage of high school students who, in this country, that could not identify the shape of America. Right, which is idiotic enough. But then I wondered, every July 4th, man, when every car dealership or mattress or whatever the hell, they're slinging their garbage, right? A lot of times they have the American flag in the shape of the country. So if you don't recognize that is the shape of the country you live in, what do they think that is? Why do they think you keep seeing this big, weird-shaped blob with the American flag? If you don't recognize that as your country, then what
but a
could
lot
they
of it's just
possibly?
red, white, and blue stuff. It says USA.
It is.
I mean,
but
look, they
just
should
think
know
when
the
you
shape of the country.
Yeah, you live here, dummy. But just the fact that it's such an odd shape. I don't know. I just always found that very strange. What do you think that is if you don't know it's your country?
New study says cold weather makes people feel just as upset as a terrorist attack. The researchers analyzed the words people used in tweets, and they found that people use equally depressing language in both cases, cold weather and during terrorist attack.
But you're basing it off tweets.
Right.
People say things in tweets. I might be like, this is the worst weather. It's so... But, that's not the same equivalent of people dying in a terrorist attack.
No. Hey,
that's just
man,
me being overzealous on Twitter.
After work, I'm going to kill you. I'm not a murderer.
Somebody should tell that study that nobody's actually won the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
67% of people say they would move if it wasn't such a hassle, according to a new survey, and 39% have lied to a friend to get out of helping them move.
Oh, well, absolutely.
Yeah.
A new study found more people text and drive during evening rush hour than any other time of the day. On average, we send about 7 text messages between 5 and 6. This is pretty easy math, folks.
Right.
When you're on your way into work, you don't need to text as many people at work. You're going to get there. You're going to do your job. However, if you're on your way home, there's dinner plans. There's things where the people that you text and communicate with more frequently, that's the time when you start talking to them.
Sure.
About those types of things.
Right. It's the people you want to hang out with. It's like, you're going into work. You don't want to, you just go to work.
The new dating trend is the several night stand.
All right.
That's where you hang out with someone a few times a week, get it on with them, but you never define your relationship as anything other than that.
Isn't that a booty call?
That's friends with benefits.
Yeah, I mean,
what isn't it?
That's exactly what that is. Why are you coming up with a new name for something that's existed since time began?
Keeping it cash.
New study found that black has become a more popular color to wear on dates than red, especially by people
I go naked.
who are looking for an actual relationship and don't just want to get it on.
All right.
So if you're wearing black, that's a signal to me that you want long term. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah, it means the end of your single freedom.
Okay, all right. That's
I'm
going
going to give it up.
I didn't know people were wearing red on dates.
Well, it's supposed to be the color that women are most attracted to when a man wears it, but I don't
Really?
know. Yeah.
Nice.
It's
Go Terps.
Yeah.
It's
you
such
wear
a weird
you're
thing.
half your wardrobe's red.
Yeah, I like red.
You're a big red guy.
Big red.
Big red.
A newspaper delivery guy in Alaska got attacked and stabbed on Tuesday, but he kept delivering papers for another 3 hours until several customers found bloody newspapers on their doorsteps and began to call 911. It was at that point in time where he finally took himself to the hospital.
That's very Alaska to me.
Who attacked him?
He was attacked and stabbed. They don't know who stabbed him, but he kept delivering papers.
I think the real story here is that someone delivers newspapers.
A woman in Florida got into a drunk argument, as we said, with the shot there with her husband and yanked his catheter out. She was arrested. A 42-year-old guy in New York was on the subway last week trying to relearn fractions so he could help his son who'd already recently failed a math test. Then a random guy who happened to be a former math teacher sat down and offered to help. And a photo someone took now has over 40,000 shares on Facebook. Just a fraction of the number.
Hair.
I always wonder, have we gotten that bad as a society that it's a big deal that somebody just helps somebody else?
Yes.
That we got to be like, oh my God, this is unbelievable.
I don't know if society itself's that bad, but every stupid thing that any human being does, we're just so inundated. Like, even people you've never cared about, they're not celebrities and they serve no purpose in your life. With social media, if you get 50,000 views because you did something stupid, like, they become part of our news stream. Like, everyone on earth is now part of your news stream. So I think when someone does something that's not idiotic, it's almost like, hey, don't forget, there's still some decent people in the world, too.
I mean, I showed a lady where to get pickles in the grocery store.
Nothing.
Why did you tweet about that?
I know, it doesn't make me like a hero.
No, it does, Ted.
Look at him.
You are a hero. You're the pickle hero.
Vlasic that way.
Actually, Miles, that's a great point. I did take her specifically to the cold Vlasics.
You did?
Yeah.
What else would you do?
I am.
What other pickles are? I mean, I don't like pickle. I only know Vlasic by name. I wouldn't know.
Oh, I can't remember the kind I buy now.
You don't know the kind. You won't buy Vlasic, but you don't know the name.
I don't buy. I don't know. I know I don't buy that brand. I don't know what pickle brand I buy, though, man, to be honest with you.
How many other ones are there?
There's like 4 or 5.
Why are you always like that? Everyone else likes Heinz. You like what, Del Monte?
Okay, there's Clausen.
Okay, yeah,
We're familiar with the Clausen pickle.
Sure.
They're Mount Olive. That's what I typically buy. I don't know why. I've always just bought Mount Olive pickles. Is that strange?
I've never seen that one before.
Okay. What's so funny? A couple who survived the Vegas shooting back in October who met there just announced this week they got engaged.
Huh.
Yep. Remember the guy who stopped
news.
the right?
Man, oh man! This is what I'm talking about. People that have nothing to do with anything. Like, why is
here's
that
a good
news?
One. Remember the guy who stopped the Waffle House shooter on Sunday? Then they started a GoFundMe page for the victims' families.
Yeah.
Now that guy has raised over $170,000 on top of the fact that he got the gun out of the guy's hand.
See, I like this guy, and I like him for one reason. Well, 2 reasons. There's the obvious reason, but look, and you're not trying to take anything heroic away from anyone. But I've made this argument before. Sully, the guy that lands the plane, right, says he's a hero, and in some sense he is, but make no mistake, he wasn't saving your life. He was saving his life. You happened to be on the plane that he landed, which is great news. So when they talked to Waffle House guy, they said, hey, man, you're a hero. And he was honest about it. He said, I'm not. He even said, I did this for selfish reasons. I didn't want to die, so I attacked the guy. That other people happened to survive, he's like, that's just a collateral benefit. But he's like, make no mistake, this was 100% about me.
More boredom for the internet. A Google Street View car in Missouri happened to drive through the path of the solar eclipse last summer. Now those photos in it are making the rounds online. An annual list of the best cities for new college graduates just came out. Top 5, Columbus, Cincinnati, Nashville, Pittsburgh, and Milwaukee. Well, we told you about this about a year ago, but it's now making the rounds again. But a bunch of websites have been linking to a new study that found extremely unattractive people actually make more money.
Extremely unattractive?
Extremely. I don't know what that means.
Probably they work harder.
Okay. Taco Bell flavored sunflower seeds are hitting the stores next month. That's pretty exciting. Tabasco celebrating its...
But it's a sunflower seed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tabasco celebrating its 150th anniversary by selling a special version of their sauce that comes in a mini champagne bottle. So you can pop the top on that. And finally, a group in Texas is raising money for charity by doing a 0.5K race next week.
That's my kind of race.
As in a half-kilometer race.
Yeah.
Or about a third of a mile. Mm-hmm. And at the halfway point, you get to take a coffee and donut break. All right, we got headlines coming up 1 hour from now. First, the game is...
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Ask Steve Thrill-Hill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Dylan. Welcome to the Men's Room. Hola! All right, Dylan, you understand how this here game is played?
I sure do.
Fantastic. Here is your story. Now, look, some people are careless drivers. We all admit this. Other people just legitimately do not care. Case in point, about 6:30 in the morning, a 27-year-old guy in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, hit a 53-year-old bicyclist with his car. But instead of calling 911, he drove another 2 miles. It should be noted he drove those 2 miles while the guy was still lying on the back of the windshield. And when he finally got home, he decided to dump the guy in the woods near his house while the guy was still alive. Then he went home and took a long nap. Luckily, a landscaping crew spotted the body, called the paramedics. The driver was arrested, and he confessed to everything. He's charged with leaving the scene of an accident, tampering with evidence, which I guess is dumping the guy's body, and attempted manslaughter. Meanwhile, the guy he hit was in critical condition with serious injuries, including a broken back. They expect him to recover. My question is, who do you think was driving this car where you would drive 2 miles with a cyclist smash through your windshield and dump their body in the woods? You believe they are black, white, Mexi, or Jew?
You guys, this was in
Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where if you're weird, you live there.
Yeah, a lot of your guys' stories come from there. What do you think, Ted?
Hit a bicyclist. Drove home with the bicyclist
in his windshield. It's not like you couldn't notice.
And then went in and went to sleep.
But first, he pulled the guy off the hood of his car, dumped his body in the woods next to his apartment, then went in and took a nap.
Man, that's weird. If the body had still been in the car, I would have thought it was just an old white or Jewish person.
Okay, yeah, in Florida. Man, I don't know if you've been to Florida, but some of the drivers there are terrifying.
I don't really have much to go on, but
there's not a lot of clues.
I'm going black.
Oh, I see.
You're going black. And I just want to clarify, you guys are asking who the driver was?
The driver,
yes.
The driver.
We know the cyclist was white.
White dude.
I mean, come on. That would have been way too easy.
At that age?
Come on, Dylan. You're better than that.
I know. Let's see. I'm going with Ted. Let's go black. Final answer.
All right, we're going to find out if he was black, white, Mexican, or Jewish next.
That was a tease.
You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
Hola, bitches. You're listening to the Men's Room.
Profile this takes us to Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Early in the morning, 6:30 a.m., a car hits
in the morning.
bicyclist, and it is not good. The bicyclist ends up going through the windshield.
Yeah.
Guy still keeps driving home, and he basically just throws the bicyclist into the woods. Some workers happen to spot the cyclist with a broken back. He's unconscious, everything else. They take him to the hospital. He's in intensive care and all that stuff. But the driver, was he black, white, Mexican, or Jewish?
And Dylan, we asked you, and you went with black. Final answer. Oh, sorry. Mexi.
Oh. Okay. All right. For some reason, I thought if it was a white person, they would have just left the body in there overnight.
What? You mean like in the windshield?
Like they're just that wasted. Didn't we have a story like that where the old lady hit somebody and didn't even realize it?
Yeah, drove like 4 miles or something with a dude in her windshield, and she's like, I didn't notice.
Now for all TV news all the time, it's time for TV Time with Ted.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box,
Armageddon!
The Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
So one thing about playing sports that's fun is it's fun to talk ass to people, right?
Yeah. Sure.
So when I say talk ass, you could talk trash, whatever. You could do it in any plethora of ways, right? So you could be on the court talking trash. You could just be watching TV talking trash. One of my greatest achievements recently in athletics was playing cornhole. And as I threw it, I walked off the court and we won.
You knew it was going in as soon as you left your
literally,
hand.
left my hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Were you thinking to yourself, like, please go in? Please.
Nah, I was like,
you knew when you let it
I was
go?
6 beers deep. It didn't matter to me, but it pissed off my buddy. He was like, you are so arrogant. And he's a good friend. So now LeBron James, obviously a great athlete. Some say the greatest basketball player of all time, which is fair if you're not familiar with Michael Jordan. So don't at me. Late in the game, LeBron James goes down, commits a foul, a goaltend against Victor Oladipo. We'll get past that. But then he goes down the other end of the court. He's going to heave up a shot. Now, this little kid is watching it, right? What you need to know, when he makes his call, the shot has just left LeBron's hands.
3 seconds left. Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
All right. We're going to play it again. Now listen very closely. You'll hear the TV on in the background, and you'll just hear his voice. He's standing like right near the TV, and he just goes, game, and turns around and walks away.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh.
So when he says game, he turns around and walks away.
So the kid is, LeBron
right,
got the
that's
ball.
why everybody else reacts like a half a second to 2 seconds later, because the ball finally goes in. The video's up at the Men's Room Facebook page. Check it out there. It's pretty funny. And like I said, it's LeBron James, so it's probably not the worst thing in the world to, make that call. But I like this kid, man. Just stunting in front of his parents.
Game. And LeBron, who stunted in front of the Pacers.
Yeah, I know.
He did post up a couple feet behind the three-point line, and he made it look like a free throw.
He did.
I mean, the guy's he's got a great shot.
I think he has a career in basketball.
He can get up, man. He can get above the defense. He can have a clear line on the ball. His jump shot.
I will say one thing about LeBron James that I've said over and over. Nobody, to me, in the history of sports has ever had more pressure and produced as much.
Yeah,
that's true.
Right, and he's. Yeah. I mean, to me, he's easily in that conversation of the greatest, of all time.
I mean, we talk about Michael Jordan. We also talk
Yeah.
about Scottie Pippen. We also talk about Grant. There was a number. Steve Kerr. There's a number of members of that team that made that a team. Michael Jordan was the team, but he got a lot of
Right, he had a lot of help.
He had
Sure.
a lot of help. Where with LeBron, he gets help here and there, but it's not consistent. It's not like the same team. Like the Bulls were the same team. They were always, even if it was Rodman was in there, they were all kind of, it was like when the Spurs were the Spurs.
Mm-hmm.
It was the
but
same
you gotta
guys
remember,
all the time.
LeBron went down to Miami with D. Wade and Chris Bosh.
Right, he had that.
Yeah,
And then they hired Ray Allen to shoot in three-pointers.
Yeah, they did do that, didn't they?
Yeah.
He basically invented the term the Big Three or whatever.
Right. But now he's all alone.
Yeah, he's
the
got the
most part.
Kardashian guy on there. No,
Yeah,
I'm
that
kidding.
guy's going to help.
Yeah, he's that right.
That guy's not focused now.
But either way, right, that's one thing about sports is great, is talking trash. And I mean, look, even if you're playing a pickup game, with just some random dudes, talking trash is fun. Mm-hmm. You got to be careful not to go too far. You don't want that angry dude punching you. All right. The Simpsons, I don't know why I call them the Samsons. Right? Mama fell. They're going to set another record. All right. So basically, they became the longest running scripted primetime show in the U.S. when it surpassed Gunsmoke's 20 season run. Now that happened. Gunsmoke.
And if you asked me what the show was that they were breaking the record, I've never.
That would not have been
yeah.
Not Gunsmoke?
That would not be the show that is, of course it's Gunsmoke. And I would think it would be something, I don't know, 60 Minutes. Who knows? I don't know what I'd think.
Well, scripted primetime show.
Oh, scripted?
So 60 Minutes wouldn't even qualify.
Yeah. I don't know.
So Gunsmoke had been on there for 20 years, right? So everybody's like, well, how can they break the record? They already broke that record. Mm-hmm. And they broke it 9 years ago. But here's the deal. Gunsmoke still had a massive leg up on total number of episodes. Uh-huh. They put out more episodes. But now, The Simpsons, they're going to break that too. March 31st, 1975, Gunsmoke aired its 635th and final episode. I mean, that's unbelievable,
It
right?
is. And the fact that it doesn't really have that much of a cult following either.
Mm.
I think Gunsmoke is just old enough. Because you're right. Nobody ever says, you just don't hear Gunsmoke outside of actual Gunsmoke come up often in a conversation. Whereas, you'll hear about the Fonz and the show he was on.
Right, exactly.
Happy Days.
That's dumb.
Right. You know what I mean? You're going to be the next Fonz.
Totally.
But either way, The Simpsons, I mean, that's amazing. And, I mean, as far as I can tell, Simpsons people still really like The Simpsons.
They do, and if they've hung in there, they've hung in there from the very beginning. I faded about 10 years ago.
Yeah, me too. And I watched it again recently.
Maybe when South Park came around, I was done.
Watched it again recently a few weeks, and I don't know, it did.
Family Guy,
Wasn't
I
fun
enjoy. I've liked a lot of different. I thank God The Simpsons knocked down the door for cartoons to be on primetime.
Knocked down the door for
stuff.
Fox.
Yeah. I
mean, Fox owes a huge debt of gratitude to The Simpsons.
Sure. But we wouldn't have, The Family Guy. We wouldn't have all these other shows, I don't think, if it was for The Simpsons. And I watch, the Cleveland show. I've watched every other show, Bob's Burgers. You know what I mean? For whatever reason, I just don't watch The Simpsons anymore.
No, you're right. Simpsons is the first real adult cartoon that comes on. Right. And I mean, those are the cartoons that are on primetime networks that you think about. But there's still plenty of great stuff on Adult Swim and this and that on the Cartoon
absolutely.
Network.
Yep.
So there's not even just cartoons. I think without The Simpsons, we might not ever have, like, Robot Chicken.
And why doesn't The Simpsons do one episode where it would be truly time sensitive? So when we first met Bart Simpson, let's assume that he's a 7-8-year-old kid. The show's been on for 20 years. He should be 28 years old with a scruff, drinking a beer. You know what I mean?
I mean, they've done episodes.
They've done episodes where they're older.
Okay.
But I also think, like, that's part of the fun of cartoons.
And you still
right?
never hear Maggie speak. That was the one thing about you've never heard her talk, right? So I'm sure there's been more than one episode. There's just one that comes to mind, but it's kind of in the future. And Bart, you know, he's big, fat, has a beer belly. Lisa has longer hair, and I don't know, she's like an aide to the president, whatever she's going to be. And so the whole thing with the episode, they said, yeah, but the thing they're excited about, I guess Maggie was now 18 or something, and either she was going to sing at someone's wedding or sing at her graduation, whatever the hell it was. And finally, at the end of the show, of course, Maggie, who you've never heard speak, and there she's grown, she has boobs, the whole nine. She grabs the microphone, she's about to sing, and like something, I don't know, a plane crashes through the roof, or there's a fire, but it's just the whole thing. Like, you will never hear Maggie. Yeah,
that's great.
Other than sucking on the pacifier.
Right, it's kind of like with Brian the dog on Family Guy, right? Like, when you really think about it, it's ridiculous that, like, he talks, and then sometimes...
But he's so smart.
Right, and it's just everybody in the cartoon accepts him as a dog that talks and drives, but then sometimes he still gets treated like a dog, and he does dog stuff.
Right.
Yeah, kind of suspended reality.
I think he's kind of the first smart dog.
He's basically just like any other dog.
Well, I don't know.
Human.
No, actually, was it...
Did you say smart
Mr.
dog?
Sherman.
I was like, Apple made a smart dog?
Mr. Sherman.
Is it compatible?
No, Mr. Peabody. Mr. Peabody. The original smart dog.
Obviously, Avengers are a big deal right now. James Corden had some of the Avengers on a celebrity bus, and he had a rule about the bathroom.
And if you look over here...
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt. I have to use the bathroom. Can I use the bathroom?
You need the bathroom? I'm really sorry. The problem with that, Josh, is, as rules on the Star Tour, you have to have appeared in 3 or more Marvel movies to use the bathroom. End credit scenes don't count. Tom Hiddleston, do you need the bathroom?
I'm actually okay.
Sorry, Josh. Nothing you can do about it.
Obviously, that was Josh. Damn it, I didn't write it down. Josh Brolin.
Josh Brolin.
Yes.
What does he play in the...
In the Avengers?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I've seen him in one of the movies, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I'm not positive.
Yeah, exactly.
Where you're talking to the wrong crowd.
Yeah.
If Mike was here, he could figure this all out for us very, very quickly.
Oh, yeah. Mike, he've already jumped in and let us know.
He was wearing an Avengers shirt yesterday.
I do have a spoiler alert for the Avengers, though.
What's that?
All right, if you're just tune out for a second.
I was going to say, Wonder Woman dies. She's not even Marvel.
I know.
All right. I wouldn't really do that to you people.
Okay.
The Flash is great.
Right? I had to Google who's a DC comic to make that joke. I will say this, though. I think it was yesterday I was bitching and moaning, like, there's too many Avenger movies, right? Turns out I don't know anything about the geek culture. Everybody seems pumped about it.
Oh, they love it.
Like, people are like, this movie's unbelievable. They could make 18 more of them.
Look, if nothing else, man, like I said, I've seen a few of them. I just can't keep on. I'm too old to care, right? But I will say all of them, most of them get highly rated. And not just from people that obviously love comic book movies, but I mean the critics themselves. So whatever Marvel/Disney's doing, they're doing it right. And by the way, I have now been corrected. Maggie said daddy once on the show, and everyone apparently is letting me know this at once.
Oh.
On The Simpsons, Maggie did once regard Homer as daddy or dada.
Well, I'm glad that people are getting fired up about going to movies because it seems like it's been a while for the movie industry to... I don't know.
But the problem with the movie industry says our problem is this. The only movies that people get fired up to see are the Star Wars movies, the Marvel movie. Mm-hmm. But if you just do like a one-off whatever movie, nobody cares. They're just not getting the same revenue. So part of the reason we get stuck with all these reboots, retools, sequels, prequels, and all that, like the only way they make money, not only way they make money, but as far as their big blockbuster movies, that's it.
Yep. Guardians of the Galaxy will continue until we die.
Well, they're in the Avengers movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. They're all in there. That's what Chris Pratt's everywhere.
Deadpool, all that stuff.
Yeah.
God damn, that movie is funny. That movie is hilarious. It's very violent, but it's also very funny. He's kind of an anti-hero, but... A couple of years ago, I took my son to Comic-Con, all right? And so he does not know who Deadpool is, but there's a guy dressed like Deadpool, and he looks cool, so that's enough for my kid to be like, I like that guy. I said, yeah, it's Deadpool, whatever. So we talk about it. The movie comes out, all right? And he wants to see it. I don't know much about it, so I'll watch it late one night to see. And man, like, seasucker is pretty much every other word. So he's like, can I watch it? I'm like, absolutely not, man.
Yeah.
There's no way. And he's like, Dad, is it too violent? I said, man, listen, like, you've heard me cuss, like when I stub my toe, but like, there's a different level of cussing that kids don't know about. So you hear the things we say when we're running late or stub our toe or drop something on the floor. And those are typically one-syllable cuss words. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, the stuff you would hear in this movie, I would have to sit down and explain to you, and I really don't want to have these conversations. What's a seasucker? Like, we're not talking about that.
I had a buddy that made a joke from Deadpool to me, and I just kind of looked at him. He's like, it's from Deadpool. And I was like, all right, that's real aggressive.
Dude,
like,
the
just
movie's
the reference
great,
point he made, I was like, where did you hear
Jeez,
that?
that's angry.
You'll laugh at the movie. I was like, yeah, you're not watching this at 5 years old, brother.
Kind of a funny thing, Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers did each other's shows. So what you listen to here is Seth Meyers on the end of Jimmy Fallon, and then basically they're going to go upstairs and do Seth Meyers' show.
Okay.
Stay tuned for late night with me, Seth Meyers. I got Jimmy Fallon on your show. That's right. First time. Come on, let's go to your studio. Let's go. Come on, Seth. Let's get involved. This is great. This is just what I thought it'd be like. Yeah. This is it. I'm back home. I'm back home. Hi, Wally. Not gonna see you, but I'm here. I'm so happy to be here. I'm back. This is great.
So now they're on Seth's show.
Back, meaning that's his old studio.
Yeah.
So do I go to the desk now?
No, you have to go to your dressing room until the interview.
That's right, of course. Yes, all right. Roll the opening. All right, I'll see you then. Okay.
I know that's a joke, but you know they had to tell him, like, no, man, you got to leave for a minute.
Yeah, you seriously.
Well, like, seriously, dude, this part's kind of mine.
Yeah. Also, when you hear Seth Meyers music or James Corden music, does it give you a different feeling than hearing like the music from a 11:35 show? Like, to me, if I hear that music, it's like, ooh, look at me up, like staying up late watching
Crazy.
YouTube.
Crazy.
Or it's,
I think
it
I
seems
like
like a fun time.
I like Colbert's music the most. I don't know why. And it's such a stupid, because they're all kind of the same show and all the music's kind of the same. But for whatever reason, I'm like, all right, it's not like a good song, but somehow it makes sense for what you're about to
I think
watch.
the one that I get fired up about is John Oliver's, just because I know when I hear that,
something good's happening.
I just know it's going to be a funny show. I know I'm going to laugh for the majority of this. I will be disturbed, but I will also...
You'll laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, we are the only 3 people in America that also did not know that Josh Brolin plays Thanos. The bad guy.
Who's Thanos?
He's a list. He's a list.
Look, when you look at the guy... just pull up a picture of the... He's like the bad guy. I don't know what else to say. He's got like a big brick-looking head.
He's Thanos.
I am Thanos.
He's rich now if he's in that movie.
I'm sure that's exactly how he told him.
Oh, yeah. Now he's rich.
I'm Thanos.
You needed
right? Josh Brolin hadn't been in any big movies.
Not at all.
Right?
Got nothing from his parents.
Right? Never gotten even, I think, nominated for a damn thing.
They were just doing him a favor.
Who were his parents?
Brolin? Josh Brolin?
Yeah.
What's his dad's name? The guy married to, please help me, Rod. I'm spacing on this.
It's James Brolin.
James Brolin. So
Oh,
James Brolin, when
Ted.
we were growing up through the 70s and 80s, he was like the poor man's Burt Reynolds almost.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a tough guy, you know what I mean? And you've seen, if you saw his picture, you'd be like, I know who this guy is. But yeah, so his father was huge, probably like for 30 years. He was kind of your go-to guy. He was on every TV show, all the movies, all this kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that's his dad, right?
I feel like if
Kenny
you saw him,
Rogers.
you'd be like, that's a handsome man. I mean...
Here they are together, father and son.
They both look like they could beat you to death.
His dad is still, 6 inches taller than he is.
I wouldn't let either of them near my girlfriend.
Oh, no, she's gone, and then he'll beat your ass.
And he'd still be in the room smoking a cigarette, drinking whiskey like, you should have been here.
Not only
like,
that...
God damn it, Josh Brolin, get out
Ted,
of my
not
room.
only that, but
I've taught you some things.
We're flying tomorrow for 4 days in Hawaii, so I'm leaving.
And I've sent you to girlfriend in Hawaii.
Yeah, exactly.
This proposal is indecent.
There's nothing you're going to do about it.
Thank you, Ted. We appreciate it. All right, headlines are on the way in a few minutes. You are listening to the Men's Room Radio Network.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
Here we go again as former NBC anchor Tom Brokaw is accused of being a creep. A marathon spectator steals a runner's number and runs the final mile, and his medal he did keep. Big news in Korea as it truly is a historic day. A stolen car collides with a school bus as the driver sped away. And Paul Ryan fires a priest. Seriously, he fired the house chaplain. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's Mike Hawk.
Not true. Mike Hawk is off there slacking somewhere. But in the meantime, just know Tom Brokaw now is the latest person to be accused of sexual harassment at NBC. 2 women came forward with accusations. And former NBC and Fox anchor Linda Vester, she says that she suffered what she says years of humiliation and isolation after being sexually harassed by a powerful colleague, Tom Brokaw. She says this was back in the 1990s, and she says that when Brokaw was the host of the NBC Nightly News, he made unwanted advances. He tried to kiss her on 2 occasions, told her he was looking for an affair of more than passing affection. Keep in mind, Brokaw is 30 years older than her. She was 28 at the time. One time, he actually went uninvited to her hotel in London, England, and she said she didn't report anything.
That's Tom Brokaw.
Because she said at NBC at the time, if women raised questions about misconduct, they would get labeled as troublemakers, et cetera, et cetera. Tom Brokaw, when asked about this, that's the only thing with Tom Brokaw. How do you know what he said?
Swallowing and gargling and choking in my own saliva.
He's like Eddie Vedder singing. There's no guarantees of the words that actually came out of his
mouth. I couldn't buy it all if I
we go to Burien, Washington, where a stolen car crashed head-on into a school bus full of high school students this morning. Now, sheriff's deputies and medics, they responded to the scene after receiving reports of the head-on collision. 17 students and the driver were on the bus at the time of the crash. 4 of the students taken to a medical center with minor injuries, but they did it as a precaution. The other students and the bus driver uninjured. Meanwhile, 2 people in the car, the driver and the passenger, they were found with potentially life-threatening injuries. They were rushed to Harborview Medical Center. The driver, a woman, she was trapped and had to be extricated with special equipment.
Man, I saw the picture of that car. It's a brand new Toyota Prius.
Yeah, they stole it.
They stole it. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they started it. Like, for me, I would just assume.
What do you mean?
Well, it's a hybrid, first of all.
Right.
So without the key, without that stuff.
Is it keyless?
I don't know.
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I would just assume that technology at that level, I don't think you would be. What do I know? I guess you can steal anything.
Oh, they did.
You can steal. I would just assume it would be easier if it wasn't that type of vehicle. A brand new hybrid.
Well, hybrid doesn't have anything to do with the keys, though.
Right.
It's just
how
the
you
engine
start
works.
it. So I guess you can just hotwire all cars. You can hotwire the same.
Probably the same. I guess.
I have no idea. I really don't. We'd have to ask,
it's an electric charge.
Castle would know.
It's an electric charge to start your car. So I think with an electric car, right?
Maybe it's just right there for you.
I don't know.
Yeah, who knows?
There is a bill to safeguard Mueller, essentially from being fired by Donald Trump, but as it happens, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he will never let that advance to the Senate floor.
The bill, you mean?
Yeah,
not
bill,
the firing, right?
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. North and South Korea, they have, according to them, ended the Korean War. They vowed to get rid of nuclear weapons and become one again. This is a very historic day.
Become one again is the big deal.
It's a very huge deal. Now, understand a few things about it. This is very fortunate news. This is exceptionally good news. This is something I think everyone could agree you want. People are wondering, why was there the change of heart from the North Korean leaders? Let's face it, for years now, they've been hardline, they've been crazy, and Fat Boy over there now, no exception. They fired up their nuclear program. As we know, they were testing their missiles. They said they had the nuclear warheads, et cetera, et cetera. All of that said, understand they don't have all of the tech. So when things went south at one of their nuclear facilities, what they are doing now is reaching out for help because they effed up very, very big time. And now they're reaching across the border to the south for a little bit of help.
They have a mountain that has a bit of a problem.
A bit of a problem, and they don't have the know-how or the ability to deal with it, but it is...
it's problematic.
It's problematic for everyone in the area. So that was the change of heart. Sadly, that's what it had to be, but if there's a silver lining to their nuclear problems...
Take Fukushima and make it 1,000,000 times worse.
Right. So that is why there is the change of heart.
That exists there. That's the problem.
And that's also the reason that Kim Jong-un decided, I'll head south.
We seriously need some help.
They really do. Let's see, a marathon runner. This is my kind of runner, okay? We go over to London where a guy named Jake Halliday, he is said to have lost his competitor number about 15 minutes from the end of a freaking marathon. He had just 1.4 miles to go, but his number fell off. And understand, in the world of marathons, if you don't have that, where they register your time, then you don't officially get any kind of score.
There's a little ISKI code in there that
and when you cross the finish line,
when you start out, it starts, and when you cross that, it knows where you are.
So his thing fell out. Well, another runner found it, put it on, and basically he got a medal. He kept the guy's medal. Now, look, he's been exposed since then, but I want you to understand, I find your number on the ground.
I'll run the final mile. He's probably drunk and just did it at first.
There's a mile and a half left. Like, I can do this. But it turns out that the guy whose number he stole was that good of a marathon runner. So when he crossed the finish line, he doesn't realize that basically he has done something spectacular.
My money says he didn't steal it. My money says is that what happened was that he dropped it, and the guy just picked it up and said, you know what, I'm going to finish this race for this guy.
Well, he'd have to be the quickest person to run the last mile. Right, he hasn't run the other 20 something.
But that's the thing. The guy whose number fell off, the actual runner, he was making spectacular time.
Oh, so he was making good time.
Yeah,
too.
he was going to qualify. 24 and a half mile, and I mean, he's killing it. Mm-hmm. He found this number and ends up getting a trophy. That's it for your headlines today, bitches. Okay. Mike Hawk was not here, so he's not out.
But it's out right now. We'll see you next time for the return of Your Guess Is As Good As Mine. A random question. The word returns and men's room rules.
Yes, indeed. It's all true, but in the meantime, we be all about this bitch. So until next time, please do what you do best. And for Aletha's sake, stay beautiful.
The men's room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup.